So just got off the horn with a guy, 56 years old, second marriage, making big bucks, gonna hang up the old boots. I love this stuff. I love being able to give people the gut check. Now, is he gonna hang up the boots for good? He's retiring at 55? Remember, my friends, retirement does not mean you're not ever working again, and it certainly doesn't mean you're taking Social Security. I cannot stress to you how many people think, well, I'm going to retire, which they think they have to take Social Security at that time. No, you don't. You don't have to take Social Security when you retire. Retire is just a word, like speed limit signs, just a word. It's in of itself, the word is meaningless. It's what you attribute to the meaning. I retired from my crappy old corporate gig. That's what I'm trying to say at 47 from USA. This guy's retiring from his crappy old corporate gig at such and such place at 55, 56. Is he taking Social Security? No. But how can he retire if he's not taking Social Security? Because Social Security is not contingent on when you retire. Social Security is contingent on how old you are. It's that simple. So my man's retiring, but he might do something else. In fact, he'll probably do some private consulting once he takes a year off. I call it a gap year. Kind of like I'm trying to get Chloe as my senior in high school. So maybe just take a year off, go down south into South America, Central America, and learn Spanish. I said, she goes, but what if the colleges won't accept me when I come back? I said, you still got your same SAT scores, which are 1370. Yeah, the Scanlon clan showing up again. And you got a year of Spanish under your belt. You got a year of maturity under your belt too. You're even more valuable now. So this guy said, look, he's been freaking working and traveling. I told him what my man Ed told me. And I've shared this with you before. I'll share it again though. Ed said to me, I met him for lunch with one of my clients. I met him in Manhattan. I was doing some seminars in Manhattan with this guy named Pete, who's Pete Molnar, long-term care guy. Loved old Pete. He was the best presenter I've ever seen in my life. This guy was, if you saw Pete, you would think, he's just a regular-looking guy. But man, he presented, he was fantastic. Loved Pete. Anyway, so me and Pete were doing this presentation on long-term care insurance, or just long-term care topics in Manhattan, someplace, I can't remember. And I was to meet some clients while I was down in the city. And but never forget, I met Ed. He had like $3 million, retired, 72 years old, owned his brownstone, whatever the hell they're called there in Manhattan. Dude, good fancy. Look at that guy. Speedy Gonzalez right there, fastest mouse on Georgia 400. But anyway, so Ed, we're meeting for lunch. I said, man, so what do you do with your time? He goes, I got all the time in the world. I said, well, what do you do? He goes, well, I don't have anyone to spend it with. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, I'm divorced, man. That's why I do that. But I said, how about your kids? He goes, hey, long story short. He said, man, Josh, one thing I can tell you is always be home for dinner. That's what he said. Always be home for dinner. He said, I spent so much time and energy trying to build financial success, to build financial resources. That I was on the road, and he had an executive job in the city, flying all over the world, gone for weeks on end. And what happened was his wife, but he was never there. And his wife grew apart from him, and he did too. And I don't know if there's more to the story, but you can see that happen. People change, especially if you're not around. Oh, now you're doing that. Okay. And so ultimately, he said, basically, it sounds like there might be more to the story, but I don't want to impugn my man Ed. He's probably dead by now. I don't know, but I don't think he's watching my YouTube channel. But anyway. But he said, always be home for lunch. I'll always be home for dinner. And maybe he cheated on her. I don't know. But either way, he put himself in a scenario that he was not there for the wife. They got divorced. And sadly, the kids took the mom's side, whoever the divorce was. So he had no relationship with his ex-spouse, who he was married to for like 35, 40 years. And he had no relationship with his children anymore. Not here to judge. I'm just saying that's the way it was. He attributes it to being on the road all the time. So anyway, that has always sat with me. Always traveling, always trying to be financially successful. Now he's financial. It's a Faustian bargain, man. Now you're financially successful. Now what? Now what? You got nothing, no one to share it with. Sad. Anyway, so I'm talking to this guy, and I said, dude, we're talking. He goes, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. He's still got children at home. He goes, I want to be there for them. I don't want to travel. I'm sick of it. I want to be home. I want to take a gap year, spend some time with my kids, my wife. I just want to be home. I want to be there for them. He goes, yeah. And this is what he said to me, which is exactly right. He said, the problem is I'm now by far and away making more money than I ever dreamed of even 10 years ago. I'm at, he's making bank. But he said, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not worth the money. I want to be there for my wife and kids. He goes, I know it's crazy, thinking I'm going to be a typical financial planner. I said, no, you can't. You got to keep working because you're making bank. Still make bank. Sacrifice your kids. He goes, I don't want to do it. I said, hell no, man. It's the exact opposite. I want you to quit. He didn't have $1 million saved up either, by the way. He didn't. But the interesting thing is, and he had a mortgage. He had like $800,000, maybe $900,000 saved up. But with his Social Security, he doesn't spend that much. His mortgage will be paid off, probably 5-10 years, something like that. But between his mortgage and his expenditures, he's only spending $6,000 a month, and 24 of that is his mortgage. So between his mortgage, so his total expenses are $6,000 a month. We'll just say he's got $900,000 in his portfolio. His Social Security at 67 is $3,300 a month. His wife is going to work. She's been raising the kids, so she's going to go back to some job, doing something. $45,000 a year, nothing fancy. Healthcare there. She wants to get back, but she's been home raising kids for a while, so she's like, I'm ready to get back. Kind of like my wife a little bit. I want to be around adults. I get it, what I'm saying. So $45,000 from her. They're only spending $72,000 a year. He's going to pull $30,000 a year from his portfolio, of which is $800,000, $900,000. You know what I'm saying? He gets on Social Security. By that time, the mortgage is probably paid off. Right? By that time, the mortgage is probably paid off. Maybe not, but maybe it is. We don't know. But either way, Social Security will be for him, $3,300 a month in today's numbers. He takes that 70. It'll be about $4,200 a month at 70. His mortgage is paid off. He don't spend that much money. He's still got, he spends $30,000 a year out of a $900,000 portfolio. That's a 3.5% distribution rate. So by the time 10 years comes from now, he'll be 67. He's still got, we'll say $700,000, $600,000. We'll just use that. Say it fell, whatever. Takes 5% off $600,000. That's $30,000 a year, plus his $40,000 a year from Social Security. His wife will have her Social Security, just say half of his, maybe $2,000 a month, depending on how much her PIA is. So it's kind of like, why keep striving when you got the resources now? Anyway, you can spend time with your kids, man. I bet you could do that too, I bet you, if you actually looked at the numbers, I bet you have the financial resources to do that as well. The question is, are you going to look at the numbers? I bet you don't, because most people don't look at their expenditures. You know why? Because you're making bank. You're like, no, this is the year, this is the time, I'm making all this money. I want to spend it. I want to spend this money because I'm making all this money. And this is what this guy was doing too. Basically he said, yeah, we don't really spend that much, but essentially we spend to our income allows. That 100%, man. I bet you're doing the same. I'm doing the same thing too. So yeah, I don't need this, but I'm going to buy it because I got disposable cash flow. But once you put that away, my friends, and you start looking at your actual expenditures relative to your needs versus your wants, you start saying, my needs aren't that much. As long as I can police up my wants. Anyway, so 55, sacrifice his most earnings career ever. Is that a good move? You're damn right it's a good move. But it's not based on your assets, it's based on your expenditures. And if your expenditures are based on your current income flow, that's not the expenditures you want to use to define your retirement. You want to use your define your retirement, you say, I'm going to get rid of some of these wants. That doesn't mean you can't take vacation stuff. It just means, like I told you I bought this thing, an Arrow Garden, a large Arrow Garden. It's $300 off, so I paid, what, $500, $400 for it. I didn't need it. I won't do that in retirement, if that makes sense. But you spend it while the cash flow is good. If you're gonna, that's a want. It's actually just a luxury spending. I probably never should have done, but because I did, and I won't do that in retirement. So my expenditures now, when I actually look at what I really truly spend, it won't be that Arrow Garden. It'll just be basic stuff, which means at 55 you can hang up the boots. I bet you can too. As long as we get rid of Slowpoke Rodriguez now. Or is it Slowpoke Gonzalez? That's it. Speedy Gonzalez, Slowpoke Rodriguez. Got Slowpoke Rodriguez in front of me here. The slowest mouse in Mexico.